Before stealth bombers and supersonic flight, engineers were already chasing impossible goals. Bigger payloads, longer range, greater speed. Some aircraft achieved them, others crashed under the pressure. The race that transformed strategic bombing starts with a single prototype. Flying for the first time in 1937, the Boeing XB-15 was designed as a very long-range strategic bomber. It reached about 200 miles per hour, carried up to 2,000 pounds of bombs, and targeted a 5,000-mile range. Only one was built. Too slow for wartime use, it later served as the XC-105 cargo transport and influenced future heavy bomber development. Entering service in 1938, the B-17 Flying Fortress became one of America's most important wartime bombers. With a maximum speed of 287 miles per hour, a 2,000-mile range, and a 4,500-pound bomb load, it flew most 8th Air Force missions over Germany. Built in massive numbers, its ability to survive severe damage made it legendary. Entering service in 1941, the B-24 Liberator offered greater range and payload than the B-17. It reached 297 miles per hour, carried up to 8,000 pounds of bombs, and flew over 2,100 miles. More than 18,000 were produced, making it the most-built American bomber ever. It became famous for long-range missions and the dangerous Ploesti oil refinery raid. First flying in 1941, the Douglas XB-19 was the largest bomber built in the United States at that time. Powered by 4 2,000-horsepower engines, it was intended for very long-range strategic operations. Only one prototype was completed. Obsolete before testing finished, it later served as a transport while contributing valuable heavy aircraft engineering knowledge. Entering service in 1944, the B-29 Superfortress represented a major technological leap. It reached 357 miles per hour, carried up to 20,000 pounds of bombs, featured a pressurized cabin, and used remote-controlled gun turrets. Nearly 4,000 were built. It firebombed Japan, delivered the atomic bombs, and later served during the Korean War. Entering service in early 1945, the B-32 Dominator served as a backup to the B-29 program. It matched the Superfortress with a 357-mile-per-hour top speed and a 20,000-pound bomb capacity. Production remained limited to 118 aircraft. It flew the final American combat mission of World War II before cancellation after Japan's surrender. Entering service in 1948, the B-50 Superfortress was an improved development of the B-29. Stronger engines, a reinforced airframe, and greater performance extended the bomber's usefulness into the early Cold War. Around 370 were built. Although it never saw combat as a bomber, it served in reconnaissance and tanker roles and completed the first non-stop round-the-world flight. Entering service in 1948, the Convair B-36 Peacemaker became the ultimate piston-powered strategic bomber. Featuring a massive 230-foot wingspan, 10 engines, a top speed of 411 miles per hour, and an 86,000-pound payload, it could deliver nuclear weapons across continents. A total of 384 were built. Though never used in combat, it formed America's primary nuclear deterrent. First flying in 1946, the Northrop YB-35 introduced a radical flying wing design intended to maximize range and efficiency. Powered by piston engines, it was designed for missions exceeding 4,000 miles and could carry up to 51,000 pounds of bombs. 13 prototypes were built. Despite impressive capabilities, it lost the strategic bomber competition to the B-36 and was cancelled. First flying in 1947, the YB-49 transformed the YB-35 concept into a jet-powered flying wing. It achieved speeds of approximately 520 miles per hour and operated at altitudes near 40,000 feet. Only 2 converted prototypes flew. Technical challenges and fatal crashes ended the program, but its aerodynamic concepts later influenced the B-2 Spirit decades afterward. Entering service in 1948, the North American B-45 Tornado became America's first operational jet bomber. Powered by 4 turbojet engines, it reached 579 miles per hour and introduced new capabilities for strategic operations. A total of 143 were produced. Rather than bombing missions, it primarily conducted reconnaissance flights over Korea and near Soviet territory during the early Cold War. Entering service in 1951, the Boeing B-47 Stratojet revolutionized bomber design. Its swept wings and 6 pod-mounted jet engines allowed speeds of 606 miles per hour, far exceeding previous bombers. More than 2,000 were built. Although it never dropped bombs in combat, it became the backbone of Strategic Air Command's nuclear deterrent throughout the 1950s. First flying in 1952, the Convair YB-60 was an all-jet development of the B-36 Peacemaker. Featuring swept wings and approximately 72% parts commonality with its predecessor, it aimed to extend the design into the jet age. Only one prototype was completed. Performance fell short of expectations, and the aircraft lost the competition to Boeing's B-52. Entering service in 1955, the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress became the most successful strategic bomber ever built. Powered by 8 jet engines, it reaches 650 miles per hour, carries up to 70,000 pounds of weapons, and flies more than 8,800 miles unrefueled. A total of 744 were built. Combat service spans Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and continues today. Entering service in 1960, the Convair B-58 Hustler became the world's first operational supersonic bomber. Its delta-wing design allowed speeds exceeding Mach 2 while setting 19 world speed and altitude records. A total of 116 were built. Although never used in combat, it served as a nuclear deterrent before high operating costs and maintenance demands ended its career. First flying in 1964, the North American XB-70 Valkyrie represented the peak of supersonic bomber ambition. Powered by 6 engines, it exceeded Mach 3 and operated near 70,000 feet. Only 2 prototypes were completed. Advances in intercontinental ballistic missiles and Soviet surface-to-air missiles made the concept impractical, leading to cancellation before operational service. Entering service in 1969, the FB-111A provided strategic air command with an interim bomber while larger programs matured. Its variable sweep wings and Mach 2.2 capability combined high speed with long-range strike performance. 76 were built. Although it never served in combat as a strategic bomber, it successfully filled the gap before the arrival of the B-1. Entering service in 1986, the B-1 Lancer combined variable sweep wings with high payload capacity and low-altitude penetration capability. It could exceed Mach 1.25 while carrying the largest conventional weapons load in the American bomber inventory. 100 aircraft were produced. The B-1 later conducted extensive combat operations across Iraq and Afghanistan. Entering service in 1997, the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit brought stealth technology into strategic bombing. Its flying wing configuration minimized radar visibility while carrying approximately 50,000 pounds of weapons across intercontinental distances. Only 21 were built. The aircraft proved its capabilities during operations over Serbia, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya, while remaining one of the world's most advanced bombers. First flying in 2023, the B-21 Raider represents the newest stage of American strategic bomber development. Designed as a stealth flying wing, it combines nuclear and conventional missions with open architecture avionics for future upgrades. Operational service is expected during 2026 and 2027. Planned procurement exceeds 100 aircraft, making it the future backbone of the bomber force. From the XB-15's experimental beginnings to the stealth-focused B-21 Raider, the evolution of American strategic bombers spans nearly a century of technological change. Each aircraft reflected the requirements of its era, advancing range, payload, speed, survivability, and strategic reach for the generations that followed.